The Bingle is a mid-round free agent, which is pretty much an antagonist. You kind of have to be an antagonist to really make this work. You will spawn pretty much anywhere on the station, and this is where the hole will be made. The pit is love, the pit is life, the pit must grow. When you take the role, you spawn in wherever your ghost was circling as the Bingle Prime. Depending on your location, you will probably be killed very quickly. You yourself are not super powerful, you have damage resistance, you have 120 health, but you have no hands, you have only a melee attack, but the melee attack is fairly competent. Your attacks do blunt and structural damage, and it's not a whole lot of blunt, but it's a decent bit of structural, but you have a stun baton-like effect with your attacks. So you can stun somebody and continue to attack them pretty repeatedly as the Bingle. You can incapacitate and kill people fairly quickly if they're unarmored, but it only does blunt damage, so depending on what they're wearing, you might not do all that much, but you'll still have the stun effect. You, however, cannot throw them in the pit right away. The pit is too small. Instead, the whole point of the Bingle is to drag objects into the Bingle pit, and doing so will give the Bingle pit points. At first, the Bingle pit will only be level 1, and you gain a new Bingle as a ghost roll every 10 points. As far as I'm aware, all objects that actually fit in the hole that are not mobs, so anything from a mug to the nuclear device, will fit in the hole and give you 1 point. So if I were to spawn in 8 objects in the hole, we would go up, not a level, but we would get a new minion. To save your ears, I'm not going to show spawning the items in, but we can see that once we have delivered 10 items to the hole, we have made a new minion, which is a ghost roll. So this is more of a snowball style antagonist. It is worth mentioning the pit can be destroyed, and that's how you essentially stop the Bingles. You don't want the pit to grow as the crew, because a larger pit means there's more Bingles, and a bigger pit means you can start tossing people in it, which I will just get to. You have to drag a lot of objects into the hole to upgrade it. I believe it's literally 120 objects have to be dragged into the hole in order to upgrade the size of the hole. Once the hole is upgraded, all currently living Bingles will also upgrade. Also, I just have to mention, if you haven't noticed, absolutely the best feature of the Bingle is the fact that their eyes turn red when you're in combat mode. I don't know why, but that's just super funny to me, and it's like, this thing's already just, like, fucking terrifying looking. Like, it's like something out of Smiling Friends. It's just a goofy-ass looking sprite. But once the hole has upgraded and spawned 12 minions total, you will now have a more dangerous effect. You can now, at this point, start eating and throwing in people. Not eating them, but the hole eats them. Once they are on the ground, they have to be tossed in. I think fully living people can also just be tossed in. We'll find out right now. Yeah, they can be, but odds are you're going to have to incapacitate them and drag them in. It is worth mentioning that throwing in people, each person gives 10 points, so it's the equivalent of 10 objects, and that will spawn a new Bingle each time. So if I just spawn a few mobs in it, you'll see it grow. Any second. There you go. The hole gets bigger, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't get any bigger than this, but it actually doesn't change where you fall in at. It's just a visual thing. If anything, I think this just makes it a little bit easier to actually shoot it. But yeah, the Bingle's a really simple antagonist. It's a snowball antagonist that's designed to just kind of mess with the station. If you let it get out of control, it can start causing some pretty big station problems in the fact that, well, people getting thrown in the hole need to be recovered. They're not round removed, and I will show that in a second. The Bingle cannot pry any doors, but your high structural damage means you could chew through parts of the station pretty quickly. The Bingle is also completely space immune, so space is actually a rather safe area for you to be. You do glow though, so you can't like hide in the backdrop of space, but Bingles also have the ability to kind of drift through space endlessly, so they essentially have flight as well, because you know, these weird little monsters definitely need to fly. So they are pretty scary even in space. They can chase you down and stun you, so you could lose your jetpack that way. But yeah, it's pretty, these things are pretty scary just overall. Also, if the people that fell in the hole aren't dead, they have the ability to actually talk and ask for help still, so if you didn't toss them in crit, they could give information on what's going on in the hole, and they are not immune to space, as you can tell. They are dying now in there. And just to showcase what happens when somebody actually finally destroys the hole, everything inside of the hole will be ejected out. So physical like machines will spread out through the entire hall. Everyone that was thrown in the hall will be recovered, and any object thrown in there will be recovered. Other last minute things to add about the Bingle, they actually do feature night vision, which is just awesome. I'm really upset still that code bases like Wisdom don't have night vision like this. It makes playing critters and creatures feel more like critters and creatures. Also, you do glow though, so you don't have the safety of using darkness, but it's still really helpful for seeing people better than they can see you. I mean, you're still very clearly visible, but anyways, you get what the point of night vision is. Also, Bingles do regenerate HP passively, because otherwise you'd have no other way of healing. And having that extra 120 health with some damage resistance definitely helps out as well, making you a pretty fairly formidable combat foe. You're like stronger than most critters, and I don't know. Critters like this are just fun. It's a weird little guy. It's a little dude, little gremlin, and you feed the hole to make more little gremlins, and you bingle all over the place. Again, this is on Goob Station. Also, there is a YouTube channel that covers Goob content specifically, and I do feel bad about covering the same stuff as them. I don't really even play Goob Station, but I'm really interested in like Space Station's development as a whole. So I in no way mean to take away from people who are dedicated at showing content like this. So I will 100% recommend you go check out their channel. Their YouTube is 4D Most. I will put their channel in the description and in the comments. You should really go check them out if you want dedicated Goob content. Anyways, I still like showcasing off weird stuff like this just to get the word out there more. Thank you for watching. The Bingle